look at the expo floor. We're so glad that you got to see that. I'm Jasmine Kyles. I'm a senior product manager here at AWS, and it is our time to shine because Adrian and I have been like partners, and now we finally get to scream partners the entire segment. So let me introduce you to my co-host and then also a very familiar face here on the stage.
Should I do the newscaster voice or the excited voice?
Up to you.
Hey everyone, my name is Adrian. Miguel. I'm a principal partner enterprise architect here at AWS. Primarily working with technology partners, but in reality, kind of working with a little bit of everybody. And it is our pleasure to welcome Dr. Ruba Borno to the stage. Hi
Thank
there.
you so much, Adrian and Jasmine. So excited to be here. It's the day after we delivered the Partner Advantage keynote, and we're here on the expo floor, and I'm looking at a big sign that says the AWS Partner Network, and I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah. So, Ruba, how's your reInvent been so far?
Oh, it's been amazing. I've got to say, from the moment we stepped into Matt Garman's keynote, seeing announcement after announcement, I don't know, for those of you that haven't watched it, he did a 10-minute segment that he had a shot clock, and he had to go through 25 launches in 10 minutes. And it's just such an amazing articulation of the pace of innovation that we're getting from AWS. As an employee of AWS, as a builder here, I love seeing that all of my colleagues are innovating at an incredible pace. It gives me so much confidence in how we're going to be supporting customers in the future.
Yeah. Now, that rapid fire was something.
Yeah.
Something to see.
It's absolutely something to see. And before we jump into your keynote, Ruba, I have to ask a question about the music that you chose to put in there. I come from a music background. Chat, we've been talking about this a lot. I hear from your team that you wanted to lean into the creative aspects of the keynote and even give soundtrack references to inspire the direction. I have to ask, what was your music inspiration for the keynote this year?
Look, for me, keynotes are just an amazing way to tell a story and bring our audience on a journey. When we talk about some of the innovations that we're launching, and then at least with the partner network, we're talking about program launches, it's really got to fit together into one cohesive theme. And the theme that we wanted to show is magic. The reason that we chose magic, and I'll get to the music in a minute, Adrian, but the reason we chose the theme of magic is because when you first interact with any agent or AI, it could actually feel like magic. You know, you put in a simple query and all of a sudden it's now doing analysis for you and deep research for you that normally would have taken weeks, to do and grinding work. As an ex-consultant, I used to do some of this stuff that the deep research capabilities can do. So it feels like magic, but we wanted to instill the confidence for our customers and our partners that magic is actually built on a scientific foundation.
Yeah.
And there were some key elements that should give everyone clarity around what are the components of this magic, the scientific components of the magic. And so the music is really key to that. We looked at references from movies where there were magical undertones, but they actually also had a scientific background. So think of things like Ocean's 11, where they do this kind of heist, but there's all this planning in the background, all of these teams working together, all of this precise timing. Or Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Same thing. Like, it appears like magic, but it's actually like perfect timing, perfect synchronization, and teams working together.
Yeah.
And that's really what the AWS Partner Network does. And so when it came to the music, and I encourage everyone to at least watch the open hype video. I watched it so many times, and my little 2-year-old daughter watched it too. She calls it the magic video. It starts off with a feeling of uneasiness, moodiness, uncertainty, like what is going on, what does the future hold?
Yeah.
And then as we overlay these examples of wins from AWS, customers getting value out of AWS and working with partners, you start to feel more optimism in the music. It starts to get higher and faster and really triumphant at the end. And the idea being that we can do anything.
Right.
In the video, we show that we're actually listening to Saturn. That runs on AWS. That capability runs on AWS. And so we actually paused the music at that moment so you could hear Saturn. But it's incredible. Things that people would have thought were in their wildest dreams are now reality, and it's all happening on AWS.
Yeah, I love that. I love seeing the story of magic come together because people get to see how partners are delivering with customers to achieve, these incredible outcomes. What were some of the things that you talked about that the partner network and marketplace and specialists have done over the year?
So many things, and honestly, in the past year, we couldn't cover everything. I mean, like Matt, I probably should have done a shot clock of all of the innovations and changes ideas and announcements that we could have made. Maybe I'll go into one customer example, and then I'll go into like the elements of that customer example.
Sure.
One of the examples that we shared was the World Surf League. I don't know a ton about surfing. I know it's a beautiful sport. It's a really intense sport on the athlete. But when you think about the data that's needed to analyze surfing, it's actually very different than any other sport. So a lot of people are familiar with what AWS does with NFL stats and what we've done with Formula One. But if you think about those sports, they're in a confined stadium or a confined racetrack. That racetrack doesn't change. The stadium dimensions don't change. But with surfing, you're in an ocean. You don't know what the weather's going to be like, what the wave velocity is going to be like. You don't know which wave they're going to catch. And you've got thousands of surfers across thousands of different seas and oceans doing that. So capturing that data and then being able to do real-time analysis to give the commentators natural insight on what are some of the performance parameters of the surfers, and then actually use that data for the surfers themselves to get a lot better. And there was one amazing quote from the World Surf League where they said, we can't give the surfers a better wave, but we can give them insights to make them better surfers. And so I just love that example, and it's all gathering real-time data, being able to process it, and then turn it into an insight also in real time so that everyone can take action, from the announcers who are changing the fan experience to the surfers themselves who are trying to improve their performance. And so from that, we had a couple of key elements we wanted to highlight. What are the 5 ingredients for this, the scientific ingredients in this magical sauce? One is agents and AI. That is ultimately the thing that's bringing all of these to reality. The agents and AI are leveraging the crown jewels of every customer, which is their data. That data has to be secure. You can't have that data interacting with agents that don't have access to it or shouldn't have access to it or going somewhere else. So the secure foundation is really critical. The next thing is the toolkit that we're giving to partners and customers to be able to make use of everything that we just talked about. And one of those is the AWS Marketplace. And then the last thing is our partner network. We have a study that Canalys and Omdia, now bought Canalys, put out a year ago, which said that on average, to get an industry outcome, a customer needs 4 or more partners to work with. So you're talking AWS plus, let's say Deloitte plus McKinsey. We shared a Toyota Motor North America example where it was AWS, Deloitte, and McKinsey. And there are a bunch of other partners as well, but those were the 3 major ones that Toyota worked with to save $1 billion a year.
Wow. And it's one thing for all of us, all of the APN and folks that are joining us and all the partners we've spoken to, it's one thing for us to say lead with partners. Partners are a key component of it. To hear the industry analysts say that, and even more powerfully, to hear Matt Garman say that partners are core to the AWS strategy. I mean, it's very powerful. So what do you believe the sentiments that partners should be kind of honing in on and almost even doubling down on?
Look, the future of technology is partnerships. I firmly believe that. I think with agentic, gone are the days of like one solution solves everything. You're going to have multiple agents working together to solve whatever problem. We shared an example on stage of a Mater Dei, which is a Brazilian healthcare network, and they looked at their revenue cycle end to end, from contract analysis, billing, all the way to actually dispute management with their patients. And they built 12 agents to work together with that. And they worked with A3 Data, an AWS competency partner, and also AWS Generative AI Innovation Center. But what you'll see is that it's no longer just a one size fits all. And if you look at AWS's product strategy, it's now completely integrating partners. Look at Bedrock. Choose any model. You can choose Amazon's foundation model family of Nova. You can choose Llama. You can choose AI21, Stability AI. You can choose Anthropic. It's fit for purpose models. You look at Bedrock Agent Core. What's amazing about Amazon Bedrock Agent Core is you can purchase. You can make a selection of agents from the AWS Marketplace and then go ahead and deploy them and manage them in Bedrock Agent Core. And it's a recognition that you're going to need agents from third parties. You're going to need agents from AWS. You're going to need agents that you build yourself. And you can manage all of those in Bedrock Agent Core. So I'm looking at our product strategy, and it integrates partners at every layer.
Right. And let's talk about a little bit about that multiplier. So we got to learn about some data throughout the week. $7.13 for every dollar. And that's up from, what, $6.40 in 2022.
Right.
What does that mean?
It is such an incredible opportunity for partners. So when Matt Garman was on stage, he talked about AWS's over $100 billion investment in CapEx and building out these data centers. He also showcased Project Rainier and showed how big of an investment we're making and how much we believe there's potential here. But if you look at AWS's investments and now think, for every dollar a customer spends on AWS, our partners will make $7.13. That is a massive opportunity for our partners to capitalize on, to build services on that, to be able to build those agents, to be able to deliver those industry solutions. And we've got data. We worked with Omdia on that. They did the study entirely. It was a global study. And so we've got differentiation by geo. But they looked at what are some of the business models that are most profitable for our partners. And they're seeing that the partners that embed agents and AI into the offerings they give to customers are more profitable. So the opportunity is only going up.
Yeah.
And I'm old enough to remember back in my day when I first started, 2017, if a partner could extract $2, $3 per dollar of investment, that was huge. Now we're talking almost 2.5 times that. I mean, if you could tell customers to do one thing to prepare for the era of innovation, what would it be?
It's not one thing, Adrian. I'd love it to be one thing. But look, change it's not just about the technology. I actually think the technology, AWS and our partners are making it easier and easier and easier.
Okay.
It is the people, and it's the process, and it's the change management that goes along with it. So rather than thinking technology out, think business problem in.
Ooh.
And that's what was so interesting about the problems that the customer solutions that we showcased on stage.
Yes.
They had thought through, what is creating challenges for us. I mean, just that Brazilian healthcare network, to double click into that one more time. What they saw was that there were a lot of manual processes, things that would take 200 days for them to get paid, now are being addressed in near real time. We had Sanjay Bhakta, who's the Chief Technology Officer of Condé Nast. Condé Nast is a 115-year-old company. And how they've grown, they've got 22 properties across the world. They had data distributed all over the place. And so they actually had these crown jewels, but they weren't making use of them. And then when they had developed a unified data strategy across all of those properties, they now can deliver a personalized experience to their audience. And I learned some cool stats from Condé Nast yesterday. One is that the Met Gala viewership, so the online viewership to the Met Gala, is 500% more than the Super Bowl.
Whoa.
Who knew that? And that's the kind of thing they've got to deliver. And they completely shifted through this unified strategy from having a business that was 70% print, 30% digital, to completely the opposite. It's now 30% print, 70% digital, and the digital channels are personalized to, do you want to see the Met Gala? Do you want to look at travel? Do you want to see something that is based on your prior history? And they're able to deliver that, and they're increasing increasing customer engagement. They're able to get customers to spend more time with them, and they're reducing their costs. And he made a bit of a joke that they finally have a finance and HR system as well.
Yeah, one of the things I'm also loving hearing about customers is, and partners are the ones that are going agentic first. That rack space story and being able to transform on Kiro in just a few weeks when they saved 52 weeks worth of work. That's almost an entire year that would have taken them. What would you say, as we close up here on these final thoughts about customers and partners that need to upskill here on agentic?
You nailed it, Jasmine, with Kiro. I'm so excited about Kiro. And, a couple of weeks ago, the AWS partner team held the Startup Partner Summit in San Francisco with our top 200 startups. And we made a really great announcement, which Matt also shared on stage this week, which is that for startups, they get a free year of Kiro. the feedback on Kiro has been tremendous. My own team uses it. The AWS Marketplace engineering team uses Kiro in order to develop and be able to deliver a lot more features more quickly. It's incredible. I mean, our ability to take things that were below the line in our roadmap and move them above the line because of use of these tools is amazing. And I love that AWS's philosophy is to give technology that used to only be available to large enterprises also to startups to bring them up to speed. So I'm very excited about the Kiro for Startups announcement that we've made. And I think for all of our customers who haven't yet used it, you've got to get on it. That and Bedrock Agent Core.
Yes.
My own team shows me agents that they build within a matter of days or weeks that normally would have taken us months to develop.
Right.
And it's something that you can just do. Take the business problem, and now instead of actually having to do all of the technical guts of the business problem, you actually just craft the right business problem, and then the technology will help you figure that out.
Right.
And so I'm super excited about Bedrock Agent Core and Kiro. I would say those are the two things we'd really want to make sure that our partners are taking advantage of.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, partners, you heard it directly from Dr. Ruba Borno. These are the things we want you to do. Jasmine, do you agree? This is kind of the homework we would like to get the crowd.
Oh, yes. The homework is definitely go learn about Kiro, go learn about Bedrock Agent Core, check out the AWS Partner Network and the Marketplace. And hey, stay tuned. We'll be back with more.